Hi, guys. Welcome to a very special episode for two reasons. One is because I have like two really, really amazing, talented people in the fashion industry with me. And you know how I love amazing, talented people who I adore. Second reason is I have been meaning to do an episode on the Northeast and how amazing it is and how much there is so much untapped talent there. And I finally get to do it. So I'm super excited. Actually, I almost didn't do it because Edward was very, very late. And it was almost very dark with this beautiful setup. But anyway, so we have
Blame it
Edward.
on your house traffic, okay?
Anyway, so Edward, Eddie, and Andrea, thank you so much for being here. Eddie is an extremely talented creative director, stylist. Do you have any other tags?
I'm also an accidental influencer.
Oh, he's a beauty influencer. Look at the skin. Andrea is literally one of the most gorgeous, successful models in India right now and outside of India, and an actor.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Thank you
thank
for
you so
having
much.
me.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having
You
us.
look so
Thank you
cute,
for having
matching.
me in the third season.
This wasn't planned. This wasn't planned at all.
Yeah, Eddie called me first season. He's like, why didn't you ask me? I was like, I'm planning on it. But we go way back. So
Yes,
he
very
can take
much.
that liberty. I don't know where to start because there's so much to chat about. Let's just start from where are you from? You're from Mizoram
Yes, I'm from Mizoram,
and
Aizawl.
you're Bengali, right?
My dad is Bengali, my mom is Mizo, yes.
And you grew up in
but
Mizoram.
I grew up, my childhood was in Mizoram, yes.
Okay. And Andrea, you're from Nagaland.
I'm from Kohima, born and brought up, and then moved to Bombay, and now I'm here in Delhi.
I just want to understand growing up in the Northeast. Clearly, you guys have way better air. You're growing up much healthier than the kids in Delhi and Bombay, that's for sure. I have always felt, because I grew up with a lot of people from the Northeast, Mizoram, a lot of my best friends are Naga. Shout out to all my Naga friends, Casey, Kilang, Molo. This is kind of for
Naga
them as well.
power.
Yeah, but I've always felt like from the Northeast, the people have had a very good like pulse on what's cool, on pop culture, on fashion. There's something about like the Northeast which really like they really get it. Like I don't know how to say, how else say that. So when you were growing up, what kind of interested you enough in fashion to have a career?
I'll tell you what, I mean, I didn't have any ambitions, honestly. I mean, this is wildly beyond my expectations. I'm super grateful what I've reached, what I've done. Because being a kid from a small town, this was nothing in my, around my surrounding. I mean, I love fashion. I mean, I've dressed myself since I was 12. I refused to wear anybody. My dad used to just give me money when he used to shop. He said, just, this is their money, buy whatever you want. We can't deal with it. So, so I've always loved it. But, it was so not expected. Then I went to boarding school, and then while I was studying there, I realized that there were actual fashion courses, and there was this career counselor who came to school, and I said I don't want to be studying medicine. I want to do fashion. He said, okay, this is NIFT is where you should go. That's how it started. But I've always loved it. But for me, it was not. Especially in the 90s,
Yeah.
fashion was very nascent, especially hometown. I mean, there was nothing. So I didn't expect to ever work in fashion, I thought I'd be like sulking in some random government office somewhere. But, fate had different things
Yeah.
for me, yeah.
Aren't you glad fashion found you, or
I'm
you
so-
found fashion?
I think it's both ways. Like fashion is ingrained in us, I think, and we're also much more, I think, influenced by Western culture than anything else. Of course, I think I watched Bollywood movies as a kid. I remember Chalbaz very much. I still
Yeah.
love that, and I used to cry watching Chandni. So I love Devi, for example. So we did watch, but I think the in terms of fashion and style, it was very much Western.
You're very influenced by Korean fashion
Now,
as well.
now,
Okay.
Korean is very much a big part of the Northeast, I would say. I think, again, Northeast people had the pulse on Korean culture way before how it is now. In fact, when I went home, I think maybe 10 years ago, there was like a miso dub of all these Korean soap shows. You know what I mean? It was
wow.
wild.
So
Like,
funny.
it was dubbed
So
then,
the-
10
yeah.
years ago. So people followed, and there's a keen interest in looking good in everybody. Everybody wants to look good. It's a very much a part of, I think,
Your culture?
no, I don't think so. Culture is such by our lives.
Your
know?
lives.
Yeah.
That's true. What about you, Andrea? Eddie, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the fashion industry is still more accepting and more woke. in general, fashion mustn't have been too difficult for you, but getting into films, because you've done one feature film with a very big director, of Anubhav
Sinha.
Sinha. Did you face any hardships or racism or stigma in the film industry?
I agree with you when you say fashion industry is a lot more accepting and it's a lot more forward. And definitely the film industry has a long way to go still. But I've been really fortunate, because my introduction to the film industry was very like almost all the actresses that I know in Bollywood, they, they put up stories and like photos of me on their, like when I debuted.
To
So it was like
support
Oh my
really,
God, by the way, she
it was
won Best
really-
Debut Film Fare,
Yes, I
okay?
did.
Best debut
Yeah.
film fair.
Yeah.
Congratulations
Best
for
actress, yeah.
the movie's name is Anek.
Yeah.
Is it on Netflix?
It is. It is
It's on an
Netflix,
OTT
yeah.
platform, guys. Check her out.
please
It's
watch
with
it.
your co-star Ayushmann Khurrana. That's
yeah.
big, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
So following on that, I really can't say that I've faced much racism or stigma as such, because it's been a wonderful experience. So.
I think you met the right people.
I
maybe.
did at the right time as well.
Yeah.
And even with my fashion journey, I always say that I entered it at the right time.
Her first shoot was with me, by
Yeah,
the way, when she
I
was
was
still
16.
in high school.
I was 16 years
Where
old
did you
when
find
we
her?
met.
I've always wanted to do like a full Northeast cast, fashion editorial. So, and
good
Gucci
idea.
had given me and had yes to it, and I wanted that. So then we were casting Northeast people, and then Shisha, who was a photographer, found this girl. She was still in high school, and we said, "Oh, we have to get it." So, in fact, there's this guy called Kankan Raba who was also part of my Northeast shoot. He's also made it big internationally. So, I think 3-4 people from that casting have made it quite big. Yeah,
Eddie, that's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Even Atsu, who is my dear friend, who is a Naga designer, who always you love his clothes too.
I love Atsu.
And
I think you and Atsu were one of the first to kind of really make it mainstream in fashion.
I really think that Leno
Yeah.
was, I think, the one that kind of really pushed
Leno was the first
Northeast,
model.
And you loved her. We worked
So,
together so much for Pranya's pop-up shop.
Crazy
Yeah.
story. So Leno, who I think all three of us love, is a model. And we found her. Eddie and I worked a lot together at Pernia's pop-up shop when I was doing my magazine and my shoots. And I was like, she looks like Pocahontas. I was like, I don't know. She is the most exotic, beautiful being I've seen in my entire life. And we shot a lot with
Every
Leno.
other shoot, like, should we just use
I was
Leno?
like, Leno, every shoot, Leno. And then I did a book with Random House called Be Stylish, and Eddie was helping me with the photographs in the book. We used Leno for that.
Yeah.
And so Leno, as a model, made it very big mainstream. She was on the cover of Vogue
Absolutely.
3 times.
She
She was on
paved the
on the
way
cover of all magazines, the
Yeah.
big ones like Elle, Harper's Bazaar, and Vogue. She was on it. I don't think even the Indian models, top models, have made it on
No.
all covers.
I mean,
you
she
know
was
what
incredible.
I mean?
That's true.
Is Leno someone you looked up to?
Definitely.
Was she a reason behind you also getting into modeling?
When I started, like it was a bit of a fluke because I wanted to study medicine, but she's been a
More
big
connection.
model. Yeah, she's been a big model since I was in high school, and she's like someone me and all my classmates looked up to, and also to see someone that looked like us, it was a really big deal. So yeah, I still say, she paved the way for all of us.
I really think so. Leno walks so that
really
everybody
did.
can run. If you look at now, even I don't even know everybody now because there's so many of them. When I started, first of all, there was nobody. There was this model called Esther Jamir, who,
Esther Jamir, yeah. Where's she
Naga
from?
again,
She's
from
Naga.
Nagaland.
Yeah.
So when we were in NIP, we saw this girl and we were like, oh my God, there's this Northeast model. She's walking so well. We were so excited. She didn't make it as big because I think it was still, so even with Leno, many times they'll say, oh, I don't think she works. I'll be like, no, she works. Trust me. In films or in OTTs, there isn't a lot of, interesting Northeast characters. They usually, are just the extras. Or, there was one show that I watched. I was really upset because in one scene, they were in a beauty parlor and there were these Northeast people doing the nails. And I get very offended by this kind of
really
things. You know what I mean? It's very
stereotypical,
stereotypical. And there are many non-Northeast people who also do nails.
Everyone
very
does
upset,
everything.
especially it was a big
Yeah.
show. A very hit show. So I was like, I can't believe somebody like her would be so negligent of the stereotyping.
Right.
I think just now there's this show called Patal Lok, which
Patal
really
Lok Part 2.
Part 2.
Oh my God. I'm like, I have a friend.
I
from
haven't
school.
watched
I'm like,
it, yeah,
hello,
but-
Naga friend.
Yeah.
Have you watched Patal Lok?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I believe
Yeah.
that it really represented
Yeah.
Nagaland in the right way, not trying to stereotype or anything. So finally, I feel like there are characters that are playing like an important role in a show. I think the only again movie that was made called Akuni, which is that stinky,
I've heard of Akuni,
so
yeah.
which was made
Yeah.
by a friend of mine called Nicholas, which was again like a Northeast cast about racism and all these things. And I think it was when it was released on Netflix, it was #1 in India. So
Wow.
so there are certain progress here and there that has made it, but I don't think and mainstream as much.
As it
I mean,
should be.
as it should be. But I mean, things change, and I'm hoping that it will change. But
I mean, in the movie Pink, I think one of the central
yes,
characters,
yes.
the three girls, was
Andrea
Northeastern, and she had a very good role, and she
yeah,
did a very good job
yeah,
also.
yeah.
But Andrea, I want to ask you this, because you said something so sweet, like innocently, but it touches upon something so important that Eddie was discussing. How important is representation?
As Eddie was saying, the fact that the Korean wave and everything like that hit us first, it speaks a lot about how important representation is, because we connected with that, because we saw people that looked like us before we saw people in India in the mainstream,
Yeah.
So that's why it hit us first, because the word representation hit the fashion industry before the film industry. I feel like that kind of opened it a little bit. And then the more people that tread on that, like the path widened. And then now people are breaking into the film industry as well. And I still get a lot of DMs and messages from people that, kind of like, if I've inspired them, even in the littlest of ways, it's like really heartwarming to see, like to hear people say all that, even though like I don't think I've done any much myself, but apparently it is a huge deal for people. So
That's so beautiful, because sometimes you go about your life and you are just on your own trajectory. You're like, okay, my career.
You don't-
Oh,
yeah.
Andrea's parents, now you know why she's not studying medicine, okay? It's because of this man. Anyway, you're on your own trajectory, but you don't realize that sometimes simply by being you and doing what you do, you're like inspiring so many
Yeah.
people. And that probably is very much the case for the both of you, because there's so much more that is needed in terms of representation, right? Let's get into your family. So you said you have 5 sisters, 4 sisters? From my Naga friends, I was told even before today that all her sisters are very pretty.
So
Aw.
And
pretty.
all her sisters are doing really well. They're really smart. I
Aw,
mean,
that's
it's
sweet.
so sweet.
yeah, it's
right?
cute. They're all really proud of me, and they're like, I mean, I don't think I would have made it this far without the support system that I have. My mom and my sisters, my family, they're like everything to me. So
And they're okay, and I mean, they don't get worried that you're traveling the world.
Yeah,
like,
I do.
how many countries do you model in right now?
like across Europe and New York. But I mean, they're kind of used to it now, because I started traveling alone when I was 16 without any, like adult supervision. And it didn't start like that. My mom would be like, "Oh my God, did you land? Did you board?" But
Yeah.
now they're used to it.
I was just thinking, I think I was talking to a friend the other day. I was like, imagine being like a teenager and being like, this is my life. I'm a model.
Yeah,
I'm in a new country every week. I get to see a new place on somebody else's expense. Isn't
yeah.
that great?
You don't realize it at the moment, but when you look back at your life in retrospect, it really hits you. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe I did all that when I was that young.
I really need to get into this influencing thing that you're doing. Very few male influencers in India, especially beauty influencers. Male beauty influencers are genuinely very few.
Because
Right?
it's a very small category, because there are a lot of not a lot but a few boys who have also ventured into more makeup category. I don't know how to do makeup at all. I respect what they do, but for me, it all happened during the pandemic. I
Right.
had really nothing much to do, and I was talking to my manager, my friend Prachi, who has this big company now in representing all the influencers, and she was telling me how much they earn. I was like, what are you saying? And I've always taken care of my skin. I enjoy, taking care of it. So I thought, chalo, and people used to ask me a lot what I do to take care of my skin. So I thought I'll share some few tips on, skincare. And also at that time, I didn't see a lot of fashion influencers in a sense to have an authority and to have a point of view. So I thought it was a nice avenue to play around whenever I'm not doing anything. But it's a lot of pressure, because you have to keep churning out content, and when you have something else to do, it's very hard to also balance it out.
That's
I mean, I think
crazy.
it's a great platform, and there's so many successful influencers who have made it so big, bought
That's true.
houses,
That's
and
true.
it's insane. I'm not one of those, but
One day.
I'm okay. I mean, this is you do while it lasts, and
Yeah.
then figure out what else
Yeah.
is happening.
Yeah.
What
Did
else
you
you
ever
need to do.
think of getting into influencing?
I don't know. I like being in my bubble, and I don't like letting people in too much. I'm
Right.
too reserved, and I feel like to be an influencer, you need to kind of step
Be
out of your
open,
comfort
yeah,
zone a little.
yeah.
It's really hard, I think, and when I see people, they're constantly photographing it, that's how you need to do. I'm the kind of person who doesn't like to document. I remember I used to go to Paris Fashion Week and I'll come back and they're like, show photos. And I'm like,
I didn't take
didn't
any.
because I was so
Yeah.
involved in the moment.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
even when this whole Instagram influencing started, I used to, especially when I used to go for work on behalf of Bazaar, I would take like a small clip of the beginning and the ending when the lineup happens. I'll take that for posting because I needed to do it for the magazine. But otherwise, I put my phone down and watch. I want to be in the
You wanna
moment. I
live
was
the
never the kind of
moment.
person who'd be like,
Yeah.
who will take a photo first of my food. I've already eaten. I'm like that. I'm so unaware.
Yeah. So I did want to ask Andrea, modeling wise, you don't have a dearth of jobs, right? So that's great. But now that you've done one film as a Northeastern girl who maybe a lot of roles are not written for, how do you navigate like a film career now?
You have to wait for a script to say Northeastern girl for you to get an acting job. But luckily for me, like because I have a modeling career as well, and I was also trying to get a degree. I wasn't like sitting at home jobless. But it's hard, and like I don't know if this will change because I can't go and audition for a role that's written for someone else from the mainland India. That's not gonna happen. And like a lot of the times, I had to turn down jobs or auditions because it always says like salon wali or like
Why are they
parlor.
obsessed with
Something
salon?
weird. That's like the box that they put you in. Like it doesn't matter if you have a film fair, you're still going to be the salon girl. So it's really hard because I've spoken out a lot on the importance of representation and how it should be normalized. Like a girl from the Northeast is a normal, regular college girl, or she's
I
doing.
mean, Delhi
And
is
there are
full
many
of
successful
Yeah,
Northeastern girls
exactly.
who
Plus,
live
there are
here.
many Northeastern people who have very successful jobs in different
Yeah,
fields, right?
yeah.
They don't have to go to work at
At
salon.
which
mean,
is fine. Which
That's
is
also fine,
Yeah,
but yeah.
that's not.
that's not
That's
all who
not-
we
I
are.
mean,
Yeah.
your sister is a professor, your one sister
Yeah,
works for American Express.
exactly.
Clearly, Northeastern
We
girls
can
and
be in
boys
the
have
same-
all kinds of jobs.
We can be in the same conference room as a Punjabi man in his 50s. There's
Yeah.
no that. That's yeah, but
That's true. So, do you speak Hindi?
That's a great
No, I
question.
wanted to ask because
No,
if it's a Hindi feature film, then
Yeah.
that might be a prerequisite.
I started learning Hindi after I moved out because back home people don't really speak
That's
Hindi.
not your
There's no
language.
need to.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no need to. So I had to learn after I moved to the cities.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a really strange question. What is this Hong Kong market all about in Nagaland?
So
When I was,
thrifting-
I'll just give you a reference. When I was growing up, like I always thought the Naga girls looked really cute, and whenever I asked,
That's so
"And
funny."
where did you get this?" Because my school didn't have uniforms. I'm like, "Oh, where did you get this top?" They'd be like, "Hong Kong market, Hong Kong market."
You're really
And
outing
I'm
your
like-
classmates.
I'm like, I need to go to Hong Kong market,
Yeah.
right? It's a market
This is
in which city?
It's in Dimapur, and I feel like a lot of the people that sell clothes there are, I believe they're Tibetan. I don't know where they get their clothes from. It's probably from Hong Kong, from China, obviously.
Yeah.
And they have like the cute, like, trendy outfits, blah, blah. And also, thrifting is a really big thing.
Thrifting is big?
Yeah, in Nagaland.
Yeah. Even back then when I was young, there were all these shopkeepers who would go to China or Bangkok or these places and get clothes and sell them in our hometown. That was the case. People didn't shop from other parts of India clothes and then sell it. It was from outside.
Yeah.
That's why their clothes were always different,
Yeah.
And even the thrifting, obviously the clothes comes from somewhere else.
Like when you go back home or when you hear from friends and family, like, do you see a lot more of them interested in film and fashion? Because now it's getting a little better in terms of representation?
I feel like it's 50-50. I feel like obviously there's a reason behind why people prefer stable jobs and government jobs, but I see it a lot of people. I feel like the interest in fashion has always been there because I believe that people from the Northeast are always the best dressed.
Yes.
But yeah, you see a lot more people into modeling or like into styling, lately.
I do think that especially in fashion, people still consider Northeast people to have a slightly better aesthetic.
Evolved aesthetic.
know.
Do you know anyone who's starting out or who's doing a good job or who's a good talent that you think is coming up that we should mainstream fashion or film should look out for?
There is this guy in Bangalore. You just shot with him, Naga guy. What's his name? You did that campaign, no? with that crazy hair in Ladakh you shot? Isn't he a Naga designer?
Kilang. Yes,
Kilang,
yes,
Kilang.
yes.
His name is Kilang?
Yeah,
he's
Kilang.
One of my
very,
best
Yeah.
friends' name is Kilang.
Naga
a Naga boy in Bangalore. The stylist is also northeastern, right?
Yeah, Aquana.
You need to share their Instagram
Yeah, I
accounts
will
because I want to
share.
put them up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I want to check them out. I want people to check them out.
Also, shout out to Silo who did my hair today. She's from Mizoram. So
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
she's
that's
very
great.
good. She
She's
lives
really
here. She
good.
lives
Give me
here.
her number,
yeah,
please.
yeah.
Also,
Yes,
my
yes.
old
What's
name.
her makeup artist? There's Racino, who's very good. Again, Naga.
Where is he based?
She's
here
based in Delhi.
There's
yeah.
a girl called
Ayan.
Ayan too
Yeah.
who does my makeup once in a while. She's very good.
In fact, when you go to Safdarjung Enclave, for example, they do the best hair color. Hair
Really?
coloring, yeah.
I
Like
didn't know this.
among anybody else, if you do it there, because Asu, who is my soul sister, who's also Team Eddie,
Right,
she
right.
gets her hair color sometimes here, and she has.
And
blonde
Asu is a
hair.
model too.
Yeah, she's a model
at
too.
my friend's agency and she's very cute.
Yeah.
So she colors her hair in Safdarjung.
Sometimes when she
Where
colors
those-
her hair here and there, she's like, oh my God, they're so much better, with it.
Can we know the name of the
In
salon?
fact, I'll tell
Yeah.
you. So Florian, the hairstylist.
Yes.
So he has opened a salon in Bandra. 90% of his staff is Northeastern. By the way, he's like Northeasterns are the best. They don't have an agenda. They do their
Yeah.
work well. There is that kind of definitely dedication. That's why even when in my team, I have two Northeastern girls. One is Asun, one is Pinky, who's from Mizoram as well. So I love working with them. They like I said, they definitely have a slight better eye, and also the work ethic is
Yeah.
really good.
How do people get in touch with you if they want to work with you?
Instagram.
They should just DM
yeah,
you?
Yeah, just DM.
You actually check all of them? Because I don't check
Yeah,
people who I
I
don't
do
know
check.
much.
Otherwise, email is better. I check my emails all the time, and my email is there on Instagram.
How easy was it for you to find an agency to
They
represent
found
you?
me.
This girl, right? I mean, she's had it like.
Let's
I would.
knock
Hey,
on wood.
don't
Let's
say
not,
that.
don't jinx her. Don't jinx her.
She had it, it's not like, no, she's had it like, well, because, I think Mark and Gunita, who owns Anima, they went to meet her parents, all that.
Oh, wow.
You know
They
what
went-
I mean?
They came to Nagaland before
Yeah.
Ukraine.
They
she's
came
had
to
it.
meet your parents to convince them to let you
Yep.
model?
When I was
They really
15.
believed
When I was
in you.
15. They came
Yeah,
to
her
Nagaland.
first, her
So now
first.
you're with Anima.
Yeah.
She's always been with Anima, yeah.
Yeah.
And even Leno, actually, she had it good because, there was so much of support immediately,
Where do you see your career going now?
Um,
What about acting outside of India?
That's definitely an option, but this is probably not the answer people want to hear. But I'm someone that's always really valued education, and I really want to continue studying. Getting my master's and everything. And after that, I'll see how it goes. I think modeling will always be kind of like a backup for me, and it's always gone well for me. Since
What do
I
you want to
started. So
study?
probably literature. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
master's. I have a bachelor's in literature as well. So.
Lovely. See, 10 years from now, or like many years from now, how do you wish for these industries to change? Do you ever think about that?
I've been doing this for 20 years.
Yeah, you don't look it because you're a beauty influencer and your skin is perfect.
I've been doing
Yeah.
it for 20 years. So when I started out, I didn't see anyone like me. Now, if there's so much of Northeastern representation in advertising, magazine editorial, but I still see very less representation of Northeast in mainstream films
And
or even in
shows.
OTT and shows.
I mean, you want your stories told, right?
Yeah.
Like, why was Patalok so nice? Because Patalok, when they set most of the season in Nagaland, they were telling us stories of people who live there.
Yeah.
What do you feel?
I hope to see more roles that are where our people are normalized.
Not
where,
salon
yeah,
wali.
not salon walis, no more, please. Where we're just like, where our identity, our ethnicity has no part to play in the roles we have. Like it can be a rom-com with a
Doctor,
girl, or
could
like
be anything, yeah.
anything.
Normal, yeah,
where
yeah,
it doesn't
exactly.
have to, you're not bluntly stating like this girl faced racism and then she's like downtrodden, whatever tragic character. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of like
More
over
like
it.
just as a person,
mainstream,
just
as-
as mainstream.
for-
Not,
They
have
not,
more
not a
depth.
girl from the
Yeah,
Northeast,
more
but
depth.
just playing a character.
I mean, a girl
like
who lives in
female-
Delhi, a girl who lives in
Yeah.
Bombay. Like, because, I mean,
I
there are
hope one
plenty
day
who
that
do.
happens, not just like, this from the Northeast and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. It'll be really nice.
It will happen because
Yeah.
that it happens slowly and it starts with first stories
Yeah.
about people
I also
from
want
there
to see
and then
like a big designer from the Northeast, like showcasing and doing big shows.
You
I
need
would
to
love
push
see
Atsu.
that. Yeah,
This
he's
friend of ours,
retired. Yeah.
Atsu, he's so talented.
Yeah,
And
he's very happy
we
behind
sold
the
him
scene.
a lot
Yeah,
earlier
yeah,
and he was
absolutely.
so good. And then, I mean,
Honestly, it's a hard business, right?
Very
It's a
hard,
hard
yeah.
business. It's not that easy. So I think, but one day, not just one day, but hopefully soon.
how did you get your first job?
Like I said, after medicine, finally I went to NIFT, and then I realized in my second semester that, oh my God, designing is horrible. I hate it. It's like
Yeah.
it didn't come naturally to me. And I used to buy a lot of magazines, and that's when I saw all these big photo shoots. I was like, oh my God, I see this fashion stylist. I said, this is what I want to do. I want to work with clothes that's already been made. I want to do something else, make it look interesting. And then at that time, I think the best magazine was Elle magazine, right? And of course, everybody said you should join Elle, my faculty. And I was like, yes, I know, but is anybody helping? No, right?
Yeah.
So then I met Apu randomly at this event, and she said, do you want to assist me for Lakme Fashion Week?
And
Apu
Apu
is
was
the
a-
fashion choreographer,
For
director
fashion shows,
for
yeah.
fashion shows, right? So then I assisted her. Then I made a lot of friends. Neha Kapoor was my very, very close friend at that time, and she introduced me to this photographer called Vishesh Verma,
Yes.
who knew Aki Narola very well. Coincidentally, Aki Narola was very good friends with Mohan Nilakantan, who was the
Stylist.
then fashion director of Elle magazine.
Yes.
So Vishesh was like, listen, you guys,
Yeah.
he's interested to join. You guys are looking for somebody. Why don't you guys connect? 2 months later, he called and asked me if I was still interested in that job. And I just jumped gun and then went and met them. And then, I joined in less than 2 weeks. Yeah.
This is really how it happens.
With Nonita
Like,
Kalra.
yeah.
Like Nonita was my
And we
biggest
know we love
mentor.
Nonita.
Yeah.
She's the
She was-
ultimate fashion boss.
Absolutely.
Has
So I'm-
trained the whole industry.
Yeah, I think so. So
Yeah.
that's how my first job happened. And I thought they'll hire me as an assistant, but they hired me as a stylist. They said, you have a decent amount of work now. You don't have to be an assistant. So that's how I got my first job.
Being in films especially, like they say that you need to like quote unquote
Yeah.
network and
Yeah.
go out. And for me that sounds like hell. Like I don't want to go out. Like audition me 1,000 times or like meet me for work, but I don't want to have to like party with you, forced party
No,
or
I
forced,
can't.
How do you do
I
it?
can't.
Because how are you
I
going to
can't.
do it?
That's the thing. I don't.
You know
I
what
don't
else
feel
what it
out
is?
the
It-
apartment until I have to. Until my
It is
agents are
really
on my-
important, though. I would
it
say
is.
that
He-
because
he's
you know,
given me
no,
many
I'll tell-
lectures
Yeah, I
about
keep
it.
telling her. The thing is, I'll tell you what. I know it because I've done it in a sense that for me, I have to say that I didn't go to any of these events because I had an agenda. I need to network. I did genuinely love going out
enjoy
at
it.
that time.
That's
I
you.
love
Yeah.
meeting people.
Yeah.
So all these connections
That's a
happen.
bonus, Eddie. If you love it, that's
absolutely.
amazing.
Now that I'm older, I don't love it as much. I still show up. I still show my face because, in our industry, out of sight, out of mind. Compared to what I was doing when I was living in Delhi as compared to now after moving to
Bombay.
3 years, later, the work, the kind of stuff that I'm doing has obviously increased. I'm doing a lot more of the Bollywood work.
What I was going to say
Absolutely.
was actually, even though you're reserved, but you're so stunning and you're so different looking from a lot of people.
Thank you.
You just walk in and just take a round and just.
I notice
I think just for them to see
anyway.
you would be nice.
Hope, I
you
mean,
know.
that's how it's gone so far.
Yeah.
Because I haven't
Yeah.
put too much effort.
Yeah.
but
No, I'll tell you what, I was working with this very young starlet. Now she's a big star. But when she was starting out, she was so smart. She was like, she'll go to an event. She'll meet the right people and say hi. She won't stay more than half an hour or 40 minutes, but she made sure that the people who matter see her so that she's in their mind at some point, like, oh, that girl, I met her there. Maybe she's interesting,
Come on, Andrea.
That's smart. Yeah.
Now you're gonna.
2025.
You have a new
You
agenda.
guys are gonna
You have a
see a
new
different
agenda.
side
Yeah, we
of
have
me.
expectations.
And you have this
Andrea.
man gonna follow up. He's
See
gonna
it
follow
every
up with you.
event. I'm gonna be around.
Oh my God, I'll tell you a funny story,
Yeah.
okay? When she was
Tell
doing her promotions, and Andy obviously didn't tell me anything that she needs my help. So I saw her in this, was it Kapil Sharma show?
You went. It was my. I love Kapil
Yes,
Sharma.
Yeah,
I
she
was
went.
there, Kapil Sharma.
I love
It
Kapil
was
Sharma.
very, very what's the word? It was a lot. It was a lot because I was like, oh my God, this is a lot because it's very different to what I'm used to, and like being like on stage with like people and like all these acts are going on. I was really overwhelmed, but yeah, I was very happy to be there.
Did you get a sense of humor?
Like, no,
I love it.
because
I get it, but
because
I've been there
the
on this
Hindi they
set.
speak
Yeah.
is really fast.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
need like it's hard to catch on, that.
So anyways,
Yeah.
you're in this black simple dress. Like, Andy, who is dressing you up? She's like, Eddie, I'm wearing my own clothes. I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
So funny.
I was like, why
Yeah.
didn't you call me? So like I quickly like called people, because the promotions were happening immediately. I said, listen,
I was
bro,
like,
you
this is
can't-"
not, I didn't know it was a big deal. I was like, I'm here to do it and I'm going to wear my own clothes. It's fine. But yeah, he helped.
Kapil
he helped
Sharma
me.
is a very big deal. Most of the country is watching you if you're on
No,
Kapil
that's
Sharma.
true. I didn't
Yeah.
realize at
Yeah.
the time.
But Eddie, that's so
Unfortunately.
sweet.
Yeah, no,
That's so
of course I'm
sweet.
always,
That's so sweet. Tell me about the look at Cannes. You went to Cannes.
Yes.
You
yes,
dressed her.
yes, I did.
Because I remember you posted
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
and you
yeah.
were wearing one of those Naga.
Yeah, yeah.
Then
It wasn't a shawl. What's it called?
it
The
was
necklace.
the
The
The necklace. It was like
Yeah,
a beautiful
yeah,
necklace.
yeah.
Like a tribal
Even for a
necklace.
movie premiere, she wore this beautiful deep neck jacket with like sheer skirt by Atsu because we obviously wanted, somebody from her hometown to dress up for her movie premiere. But yes, for the Cannes one, we really wanted something simple, but also represents Nagaland, not like in a tribal way, but that's something that, is very obviously Nagaland, but also in a much more contemporary way. Yeah, so we had this cute sequin dress and very modest dress,
cute,
and we
yeah.
had this, big necklace on it. Yeah.
That's my favorite look, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah?
The Cannes look is your favorite look?
No, the premiere one.
The premiere look, the
one.
premiere
Oh,
was
yeah.
beautiful.
Oh
I
my
remember
god! So
that.
when I posted that quick short clip, I got like 1 million views.
Oh,
like
did
Of
you?
her at her
of
premiere?
her at
I
her
didn't check.
premiere.
I
Yeah,
didn't see.
yeah. I was like,
Wow.
wow, people, because
Yeah.
immediately, because like we have mentioned, there's nobody like us in the Bollywood sense, especially like a
Mainstream.
lead actress,
Yeah.
mainstream, being on a premiere. So everybody just like jumped onto
You are
it.
the first mainstream Northeastern / Naga main lead actor in
Yes.
a Bollywood film.
Yes.
By a
Lead,
very, very
yeah.
mainstream director.
Wow. Are you?
Didn't you
But
realize
listen,
who you were
In-
sitting
but
next to?
Andrea, eventually, inshallah, there will be more girls who
Yeah,
will follow, but you will always be the
I
first.
know.
Isn't that
and
lovely?
I won a really great award.
And
for
you won a
it.
Filmfare,
So,
yeah.
I think that was I really have to say hats off to Filmfare to give it to
Yeah,
somebody like
yeah.
like her. I mean, of course her
I wasn't
acting chops
expecting
as
to win at
well.
all.
We didn't, right?
Yeah,
It's
we
like,
didn't.
oh, you didn't.
Like, what?
I dressed her, of
No,
course.
yeah, because we were all
Eddie,
very
I love you.
surprised. We really didn't.
Two things before you leave. 3 styling tips, 3 beauty tips. Okay, let's go.
Okay, never wear heels that are too high because they'll make you look awkward. Number 2 is if your outfit is kind of lame, always depend on your accessories. And number 3 is don't go overboard with makeup. That's my styling tip.
Yeah. Okay, Eddie, 3 beauty tips.
Number 1 beauty tip is wear sunscreen. Number 2 is always carry an umbrella when you're out in the sun. Sun damage is one of the key reasons for premature aging and pigmentation. So yeah, sunscreen and then avoid the sun like a plague. It will help you in the long run.
Yeah.
Number 3 is moisturize.
But what about vitamin D?
Show your legs and get
Yeah,
some sun on your
yeah.
legs.
Cover
but
your
yeah,
face and get the sun on your legs.
Like learn from the Asian ladies. They're
No.
always like, they have this one, they have the visor. Have you not
True.
seen like the,
True. What would you say to all the girls and boys in the Northeast in general who want to work in fashion? Just one little note.
The number 1 advice I can give is to be really rooted to something. Be rooted to your family, be rooted to your friends, be rooted to your culture, your home, because it's really easy to get whisked away with, the tides.
I would like to add that believe in your work. I'm very bad at marketing myself, advertising
I do not
myself.
believe that. Andrea, do you believe he's bad at marketing
I'm
himself?
going to let him say what he wants.
No, it's true. Like, I don't think I'm that great at advertising myself. I know tons of people who are like not as good, but doing so well because they're so good at marketing. Again and again, I say have to be seen, have to be known. But I think the most important thing is truly believe in your work.
I think the best barrier to these horrible things which happen to so many people is to be so good at what you do that nothing is more important than your work.
Yeah.
I always say, like, if you're good at your work, even if you're not like as good as selling yourself, marketing is everything, but eventually your work will shine because good work stands out eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, guys.
Thank
you.
you.
Big kiss. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
In my effort to promote and support local designers, today I'm wearing this beautiful Rima Anand skirt. You can find her on Instagram. I'm going to just stand up because it's so cute. So you can tell how it looks. My mic just fell. Cute.